So, talk to me a little bit about the way you wrap your hands for this event, Bec, and the method behind what we're doing here.
Obviously, you can't. It's bare knuckles, so my knuckles have to be bare. So we wrap. Basically, we wrap the wrist and the thumb, secure those in, and leave the knuckles bare. So an inch from the knuckles has to be completely bare. So we'll secure my wrist. We'll put the gauze over, and then we'll tape over it to secure it all in. But this is the real bare knuckle. There's no wraps. There's no tape. There's no gauze over your actual knuckles, so you can see the knuckles coming for you like this.
So how much of that do you actually have to put on in terms of gauze, and how much tape can you have on there when you're preparing to go out there?
It's a lot different from boxing. It's a lot smaller amount of gauze, obviously, with only doing half the hand. And also we have a situation we have no packing at the top.
Yeah.
So, normally we're packing,
Yeah, the gauze
all
there.
the way through, yeah. So with this, it was different for all of us, I think, for the first time. I'd never wrapped hands like this before, so it was a bit of trial and error, but we did the job well on the night anyway. We got through it. So they actually supply us with the tape, and we're using tape here, which is
Not so good.
not so good.
Not
we
so
had
good?
to get it this morning from a chemist.
We
so
fight with better tape.
Yeah, okay.
it's not what we normally use, but for purposes of this, it'll do the job.
Does it feel any different when you're going out there and you're hitting someone like that?
Yeah, when I hit her chin with an uppercut, that's when I felt it. I was like, oh, that's different.
Yeah?
I actually felt that.
Like, what did you feel?
Like bone on bone.
Yeah?
And it hurt a little bit, so I was like, okay, I got to pick my shots a little bit better and don't throw too many of those. But to be hit with bare knuckles didn't feel any different from MMA gloves at all. I didn't notice the difference when she landed on me. So yeah, you just have to be careful of really hitting, the hard bone and the skull and stuff. So you pick your shots and try to get the more meatier, fleshier parts.
So when the idea was first presented to you, what was like your first initial reaction?
I was super excited.
Yeah?
I think I've always wanted to box. When I broke my hip when I was fighting for the UFC, I wasn't able to kick or wrestle or anything, so I really focused on my boxing skill set, and I fell in love with the sport. So I've always wanted to, test myself in boxing. And then when this came around, I was like, this is perfect for me. I get to still work in the clinch. I have open hands still, so I can still use my hands and manipulate my opponent with my hands. And I know what it's like to catch and block small things coming from my face, and I already have that range with the MMA gloves. MMA gloves really are just a tiny piece of leather over your knuckles. It's really not that much different, so I had that advantage going into it.
When you look at the name bare knuckle fighting, obviously a lot of negative things come through your mind. At all, did you have hesitation going into it because of that? Like when you hear bare knuckle, sometimes you think like, oh, no holds barred, or like not sanctioned. Like, did you have any hesitation?
I guess when they first approached me, I wanted to research the company and make sure they were doing it right. And it's going to be all professional. I didn't want to sign up to something that wasn't regulated, wasn't sanctioned, and would tarnish my reputation in my career. So we definitely were worried about that. But after looking into the company, talking to David, and seeing all the athletes that they're signing, I knew that it was going to be done right, and I was really excited to be a part of the first show in 130 years, and it was really exciting to be a part of that. So, yeah.
What's the difference, I guess, when you're out there training? Do you still have to wrap the same way, or like when you're hitting pads? Like, what's really the difference there? Because you were explaining earlier to people that there is a subtle differences in technique. I didn't even know about hitting with the two knuckles.
Yeah.
So explain a little bit about that.
You definitely have to be more precise with how you're punching. You don't really want to be connecting these two little knuckles, because that's when you're going to shatter, the small bones.
So you want them eating pizza and the unicorn and the cupcake.
That's where we're aiming. But as far as training, I was doing some iron palm training, so it's like hitting sandbags to strengthen my hands, not just hitting it, slapping and backhanding to really strengthen all of the bones and everything in there, rubbing some liniment oil into it to help it heal. That was one thing that we introduced for my first fight. But yeah, I still hit pads with wraps and gloves on. The last week of training, I will take the gloves off and we'll ease the power back and just work on speed and precision without gloves on. But I do a lot of hand-to-hand drilling. We don't wear gloves for that, so I get used to catching, blocking, punching, getting my range with no gloves on. But other than that, we spar with gloves just like a normal boxing, you would for a normal boxing fight.
Do your hands feel more sore or they're the same?
They did after the fight, they were a lot sorer.
Yeah, okay, I figured, yeah, because you're bone on bone, right?
Yeah, they were just bruised and a little swollen, no breaks or fractures or anything like that, which was really good. It just took an extra week before I could go back to punching things solidly, but I was straight back into sparring 10 rounds, getting my April Adams, my training partner, ready for her world title fight, so which she won, which was really cool. So we've got a good gym back home in Australia, and we've got some really good boxers coming out of there.
How's the feeling like when you're in there? And I know the rule set's a little bit different from what I was hearing. It's a little bit shorter rounds, 2-minute rounds, 5 total rounds. But how's that conditioning like, and how's the feeling of actually doing that?
Coming from MMA, we fight 3 5-minute
5-minute
rounds,
rounds.
and if it's for a title fight, I've fought 5 5-minute rounds. So it's definitely different. There's no feeling out process. You've got to go in there and you've got to let go from the get-go to really secure that round.
Was that weird, or you like that? Like just
liked
going
it.
balls out right away?
I guess I felt her out for the first 20 seconds. I let her.
Only 20.
offer
Usually it takes
everything.
like a minute and a half, a
Right.
round, 2 rounds to feel someone out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I felt her out for about 20, 30 seconds. She threw everything she had at me, and I knew that was all she was going to offer. And I read her, and I calculated what I was going to do, and from then on, I implemented my game plan, which worked well.
When you hit bone on bone and you're fighting, do you feel that your technique from the other combat sports, it complements everything you're doing in here? Like, is it a natural transition, or there is a learning curve you feel?
I think with boxing, my boyfriend's a professional boxer, and he actually originally was an MMA fighter. So he's found that he actually hurts his hands more when he has boxing gloves on because he gets lazy and doesn't close his fist completely. So sometimes when they're lazy, like flick a jab, you actually end up hurting your hand more because you're not completely clenched. So definitely fighting in MMA with gloves, you have to always have your fist ready to fight. So that definitely crossed over for the bare knuckle. I wasn't having lazy punches because I'm used to having to close my fists before punching someone.
Is training for this harder than MMA or in boxing?
No.
No? No?
A lot less taxing on my body. I've never felt healthier getting ready for a boxing fight or the bare knuckle boxing fight. My body is much healthier, recovering quicker. I feel like wrestling and grappling and just breaking your body down constantly really takes its toll on you and aged me, you know. But obviously I love the sport and I'm going to go back to it, but it's been refreshing just to focus on my boxing and getting in more recovery time.
Because naturally, people watching this know you from your MMA career,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they know from the fights you've had in the UFC, and they're going to be wondering, well, are you going to be balancing the two? Is this something you just want to do temporarily? Like, what's the plan there?
No, I'll balance both. I have fun doing both. I'm focusing obviously my fight next weekend against Britain Hart. I'm not looking beyond her, but I'm always looking to stay active and fight. And if I can do both, I'll do both. But yeah, I'm not leaving this sport anytime soon. I'm in love with it. I'm having too much fun with it.